Welcome to this video on using active and passive voice in your presentations. When delivering a presentation, clarity and engagement are key. One way to achieve this is by choosing the right voice in your sentences, active or passive. Let's start with the active voice. In the active voice, the subject of the sentence performs the action. For example, the researcher conducted the experiment. This structure is direct, clear, and engaging, making it easier for your audience to follow along. Here are some key reasons to use active voice. Firstly, to achieve clarity. Active voice makes the subject and action clear, therefore reducing confusion. For example, we analyzed the survey results and found significant trends. This clearly communicates who did the analysis, providing transparency and clarity. Another example, the author explains the concept thoroughly in the second chapter. This active voice helps the audience easily see who is responsible for the explanation. Another reason to use active voice is for engagement. Sentences in active voice are typically more dynamic and lively. For example, let's explore how solar panels can save you money while saving the planet. The active voice here directly addresses the audience, encouraging their interest and participation. Another example, we are transforming the way we use energy, one innovation at a time. Using we includes the audience, making them feel part of the transformation. Active voice is effective for presenting your research findings, explaining methodology, and discussing your contributions. Now, let's look at the passive voice. In the passive voice, the subject receives the action. It is used when the emphasis is on the object or recipient of the action rather than the doer. For example, the experiment was conducted by the researcher. While the passive voice can sometimes sound more formal, it has specific uses that can enhance your presentation. Firstly, you use the passive voice to focus on action or result. Sometimes, what's more important is the action or the result, not who did it. For example, in a scientific talk, you might say, "The findings were published in a leading journal." This puts the spotlight on the important result, the publication, rather than the people who did the work. This is helpful when the result itself is the main point you want to share. Secondly, you use the passive voice when the person doing the action is unknown or not important. There are times when you don't know who did something, or it just doesn't matter. For example, the data was lost. Tells your audience the key point, that the data is missing. Who lost it might not be important in that moment. Using passive voice here makes your point clear without extra details. Finally, passive voice adds variety to your sentences. Using the same types of sentence over and over can get boring. Mixing in passive voice can change things up and keep your audience interested. For example, instead of always saying, "We tested the new system," you can sometimes say, "The new system was tested." This variety helps your speech flow better and keeps listener engaged. While active voice is generally preferred for its clarity and impact, passive voice can be useful in specific contexts. However, be cautious not to overuse the passive voice, as it can lead to ambiguity or a lack of accountability. For example, saying mistakes were made doesn't clarify who made the mistakes, potentially confusing your audience. To wrap things up, both active and passive voice have their place in a presentation. Using active voice can make your message clear and engaging, while the passive voice can be useful for highlighting actions or outcomes. That is all for now. Remember to use active and passive voice thoughtfully in your presentation. Thank you for listening.